Hello everyone, welcome to the session. We'll start in few minutes.
Hello, a very good evening to everyone. On behalf of the Asper team UIT-RGPV Bhopal, I take this opportunity to welcome all our heads and all the participants to this webinar on an enlightening topic, that is Git and GitHub and the open source. So we are starting with the meeting. Today, we have the privilege to have with us some experts in this field who shall be reflecting on the theme of the promising program. I am glad to introduce our mentor for the session, Mr. Ankur Gupta sir. He is the co-founder of GitHub Campus Expert Trainee and Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. Today's session is an hand-on certified session to give us insights of the open source and its program, Git and GitHub basics, and how to send pull requests and make commits. So, before we begin, I request all the participants to actively participate in the chat box, and we would like to know how many of you have already installed Git and GitHub. Please, can you write a +1 or -1 in the chat box? Glad to see such a nice response, everyone. Okay, so now I request Mr. Ankur Gupta, sir, to begin with it. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Vaishnavi, for giving me the opportunity and the whole Asper team. So, first of all, hello everyone. Hope you all are doing well and welcome to the session. So, as Vaishnavi has already talked about it, so today's session will be breaking into Git and GitHub, where we'll talk about a lot of things, including open source. A lot of folks may have already heard about open source a bit. Some may have heard about Git, GitHub. So today we'll just be looking at all of it. We'll look into all the aspects, how to make pull request and a lot of other things. So I hope the session will be beneficial for you all. So let's get started. So first of all, I am Ankur Gupta. I'm a Beta Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. Apart from that, I'm a second year student at UIT-RGPV Bhopal. And currently, I am interested in app development, machine learning, DevOps, and working on some other little projects. And apart from that, I also have my own open source community that is semicolon. You can look into it by going through the website semicolon.co. I'm also a GitHub campus expert trainee. I'm going through a 6 week training program by GitHub. After that, I'll be the GitHub campus expert for our college too. So you all can also connect with me on LinkedIn. I provided the link. I think the link must be clickable from your side as well. And I can also provide the link in chat box. So anytime between the session or anytime, if you have any doubts or anything, feel free to reach out to me through LinkedIn or the chat box, of course. And I'll be like open for discussions. So I'll also share the link here in the chat box. So yeah, feel free to connect. And yeah, moving further. So first of all, let us have a brief look into what we'll learn today. So first of all, we'll look into introduction to open source, what exactly open source is. Like we heard a lot about it, but there are a lot of doubts that I have seen among people about what exactly is open source. So first of all, we'll clear that. Then we'll look into how to set up a GitHub account. We'll also look into GitHub Student Developer Pack. That is a nice opportunity for a lot of developers out there. Then we'll also look into making your first contribution through GitHub and using Git and VS Code GitHub extension. So there are actually a lot of ways in which you can make contributions. So today we'll look into some of it. There are many, so you all can explore upon it too. Then we'll also look into how we can find a nice GitHub repositories in which you can contribute as a beginner, as a intermediate level programmer, or at any stage that you are. So then at the end, we'll also look into some open source programs that are going on right now or that you can look upon furthermore. There are a lot of programs that are going on, including Google Summer of Code that many of you may have heard of. Then there's Girl Script Summer of Code, Girl Script Winter of Code, and a lot more. So we'll look into all of it. No need to worry if it sounds overwhelming to you. And at the end, if time permits, we'll also have a quick Q&A session. So yeah, I guess that is all that we'll be discussing today, making your first contribution and all. So yeah, also the third part, that is making your first contribution, will be a hands-on session. So for that, there are some prerequisites that we have shared upon you before the session. That includes installing Git. That is, I think, the only major prerequisite that you should have. That you should have Git installed in your system. If even if you are if you haven't installed Git yet, feel free to check it out. Just go to Google, search download Git, and there will be a link. The links will also be shared in the messages, promotional messages that you have got. So, so it is important that you install Git so that you can follow along with me. So, so the hands-on session will be beneficial. So after the session, I wish that all of you must have created at least one single pull request so that that will be your first GitHub commit. So that's why I wanted it. So I think we can now start the session. Here's just a small glimpse of what we'll look into today. So first of all, let's look into introduction to open source. So there are essentially three kinds of softwares that we look upon every day. So the first category is proprietary software. That means the softwares that are copyrighted and they have a limit against their use, distribution, or modification. So this, of course, pirated softwares won't count in this list. So, for example, we have Microsoft Windows, for example. Generally, Microsoft Windows, you cannot install it for free. You have to pay some amount to get Microsoft Windows operating system in your system. Right. Then there's Adobe softwares like Photoshop, Illustrator. All of it are essentially proprietary software because you can't get their source code. You can't even get the whole software for free. They are a paid software. You need to pay Adobe to get them. Uh, and then there's a lot of softwares that include paying a small fee to get them. So all of these softwares came into the proprietary category. Then there's freeware. So freeware is something that you are using in a daily life, but whose source code you cannot see. Like for example, take Google Chrome or a lot of browsers like Opera, let's say, and there are a lot of softwares that are freeware. So freewares are something that you can use for free, totally for free. You use Google Chrome, you don't pay to use Google Chrome. You have the app installed in your system. You have everything. You use it every day. But the thing is, you don't have its source code, right? So Google Chrome is a freeware software. Then there is open source. So open source is something that you can use freely, that you can even modify, that you can distribute, and you can even see its source code. So for example, there's Android, let's say. So Android is a OS that we use in most of our phones. So Android is an open source software. So by open source, I mean that I can just go to GitHub, I can search for Android, and I can see all of its source code written directly in GitHub. So, and I can even check out the issues. I can even check out what major new releases are pending for Android. I can look into a lot of things in it. So that is the beauty of open source. You can look into it, you can look into its code, you can directly use the software, and you can share it with anyone. You can modify its code and even use it as your wish. So it's totally customizable. It totally depends on how you can use it, how you can work more upon the software. So that is the beauty of open source. So open source is a source code that is made freely available for possible modification and distribution. It also depends on the license that you are using. Open source software has a licensing policy also. There are MIT licenses, Apache licenses, and a lot more. Not a big issue, but just to give you a glimpse. Now, I hope this part is clear. What is open source? It is like just like something that you can uh, which you can like use for it. So there's a lot of example. Android, Python. The Python programming language is open source. Blender, popular 3D rendering engine, is open source. Then there's VLC media player. There are a lot of other things. Even Firefox, Mozilla, all of it are open source. So this is just a glimpse of what open source is. So now moving further, what we'll do is we'll set up a GitHub account, and I will also like to give you a glimpse about GitHub Student Developer Pack. So GitHub Student Developer Pack is something that I believe everyone in our college should have, because it is a very important thing and it gives you a lot of things that you can try upon, and it's totally free. It doesn't include a single fee. So let's look into it. Let me share my screen and we'll uh, go into it.
हाँ आ रहा है
Yeah, I hope my screen is visible. Can anyone confirm?
आ रहा है
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah, great. So yeah, here's GitHub. I have it already opened up. So first of all, let me go to incognito mode and just let me go to github.com so that you can see the homepage. Homepage is something that not a lot of people see usually. So this is the GitHub homepage. When you go to it, you can just look into it where the world builds softwares, and a lot of things are mentioned here. So I suggest you all to go to this link, to go to github.com, move into this sign in or sign up. If you are a new user, you can sign up or you can just sign in. And if you are already signed in, you may probably see this thing that is right on my PC. This is my GitHub homepage, and yeah, if you haven't, you can just create an account here. You can just click on this sign in here. Yeah, sorry, for creating an account, you can just go to this sign up button here. There's join GitHub link here, and it's a nice interactive terminal kind of interface. So you can just enter your email, continue, and there may be a verification process. You may receive a mail, and in this way, you can create a GitHub account. So can anyone give me a heads up on the chat? Just write a +1 if you already have created a GitHub account. All of those who have already created a GitHub account can write a +1 in the chat. Yeah, I see a lot of people here. Good to see that you all have it installed already. You have an account already. Yeah, looks great. Now that you have an GitHub account, there's also something that you all should check out. That is GitHub Student Developer Pack. So I'll also share the link for it in the chat box. Yeah, I think Manish has already shared the link. So here's also something that you all should check out. That is GitHub Student Developer Pack. So let me give you a quick glimpse of what it is. So GitHub Student Developer Pack is essentially developers resources. It's a student pack that any developer can use. You can like sign in here. You can sign up for. You can click on this button to sign up for Student Developer Pack, and after signing in, you'll get some there will be some things that you need to write there, if you have a college email ID, and I think many people in our college don't have that. So for that you can share the document of your enrollment form or something that certifies that you are part of our college. And after doing so, there will be some verification process, and if the GitHub team verifies your application, they will give you the GitHub Student Developer Pack. So, so this is how you can sign up for it. Now, what exactly you get in GitHub Student Developer Pack? So there are a lot of things, and it's like a really resourceful thing. So through GitHub Student Developer Pack, you get 12 months subscription of Canvas Pro tier. Canva, if you are a graphic designer or something, you may have heard about Canvas. So it gives you 1 year subscription of Canvas Pro tier. It also gives you a .me top level domain in Namecheap. It gives you $100 credits in DigitalOcean. It gives you $150 in Microsoft Azure, I guess. $100 in Microsoft Azure. It gives you a free subscription of JetBrains, and it's a long list. Like you can just browse it, and there's so many things that you can check out here. Like just look into it. There are so many things. You can also apply for GitHub Campus Expert. So GitHub Campus Expert is also a nice opportunity if you are a part of a community, if you are leading a community or something. Then you also get StreamYard Essential Plan. You get 3 month tier 2 icon seat, and there's a lot of things. Like you can just look into this list. It's a long list. So to get all of it, like there's I think a lot of resources. I think it's about 100 resources, I guess. So to get any of that, you can just sign up for the GitHub Student Developer Pack, and you can get all of it for free, totally for free. So this is something that I suggest all of you should go for. So moving further, um, there's something that I want you all to know, that many people got confused into it. Like what is Git and what is GitHub? So there are two things. Git is a version control system, and GitHub is something that is a little bit different from GitHub, from Git. So just to give you a quick demo, we'll even go to hands-on session later on. So this is just so that you can get a quick glimpse of it. So Git is basically a version control system for tracking changes in computer files. So for example, imagine there are about 30 people working on a software. Okay, so you're working at a startup, and you're working you're working remotely. Like one person is in Canada, one person is in India, one person is in America, and let's say this is like a lot bigger example. It can even be between Bhopal and any of your place wherever you live, Bhopal and Indore, let's say. So for so many large people to get into uh, build something together, you need a central repository where you all can contribute to the code base, right? You cannot do like a one person create a code, and he shares the zip file, and another person modifies that zip file, he again shares the zip file. Imagine how tedious this process can be when there are a large number of people, right? Imagine this is just 30, but imagine a big company, big tech company like Google, Microsoft, or something. So for that case, there will be, lakhs of people, right? Like if not even lakhs, there may be thousands. So there may be so many people. So you all cannot do so that you create a zip file, you share it with another person, he modifies it, he shares it again, right? So for all of this version control, you use Git. So Git is something that allows you to have a central repository, and all the other developers can create their branches, and they can like contribute to the code base. Like this is the main repository. One person can get control, another person can do his thing, and all of them can contribute to the main repository one by one. So this is the way in which all of the system can be regularized. So there's also a nice story between the development of Git. So you may have heard of Linus Torvalds. He's basically the founder of Linux operating system. So he's the person who created Git software, and he created Git so that he can manage the development of Linux. So Linux is also an open source software. So there are at earlier stage there were very few people, they can track changes easily. But as the system grows, the Linux system grows vast, and there are a lot of discrepancies upon how to work on that. So for easier management of that only, Linus Torvalds himself developed Git also. So there's just a good side story behind that also. So just to give you a glimpse. Git is something through which you can do all of that repository management, and GitHub is a cloud-based hosting service. So imagine you have a code. So through GitHub, you can store your code in GitHub. That is all that you can do through GitHub. And GitHub then lets you
हाँ
manage your Git repositories. So through GitHub, you can create a Git repository, and then you can make changes using the Git version control system. That is Git clone, Git push, Git pull, everything. We'll look into these commands also later on. So that is essentially what Git and GitHub is. There are also other platforms other than GitHub that people uses. So one of it is GitLab. GitLab is also a popular system among various startups and tech companies. So Git is something that everyone uses as a version control system, and GitHub is just a small part that lets you manage your Git repositories. So instead of GitHub, you can even use Heroku, you can use GitLab, you can use a lot of other things. GitHub even provides you some other features such as GitHub pages and a lot more things. So that is how Git was. So that is a quick demo of Git versus GitHub. So now that we'll look into it, let's go hands on. Let's make our first contribution through GitHub. So for that, we'll use Git. I'll create a repository from scratch. Don't look into these links for now. I'll share the new links later on. And yeah, there's also a big misconception that you need to be highly skilled at coding to contribute in open source. Like even a beginner, and we'll look into it right now, that even a beginner can contribute in open source even if you have zero coding experience. So even if someone among you have no coding experience, you can still follow upon this workshop and create your first pull request. So I think it's time we can get started to it. So first of all, let me show you the Git interface, GitHub's interface. So yeah, if you have created an account, you may see something like this that is on my screen right now. So here's just to give you a quick glimpse of how the feed of GitHub looks like. So here's following. So just like a social media, you can also follow people on GitHub. You can check out the works they are doing. You can check out what repositories they have created. You can check out whom they have started following. You can check out which repository they have forked, and everything you can check out through GitHub. Even right now, I'm seeing this. Someone has forked something from Rails. So Rails, Ruby on Rails is a framework that I think is used in web development. So that is also an open source framework. So as you can see, someone has recently forked that repo, and you can even contribute in its code base. So that is the beauty of open source. You can see all of it. You can contribute to its code base. So that is how the dashboard of GitHub looks like. So for now, what we'll do, I'll create a GitHub repository and I'll make you all make your first pull request in it. Okay. So so you all can also see to create a new repository. You can just like click on this new button here in the dashboard. So let me click on it. So I clicked on this new. I can also choose the owner. There are a variety of organizations that I can choose. If you are not a part of any organization, you will just see your username here. Here are some of my open source organization that I'm part of. So I can see all of it here. So I can choose me as the owner. I can write a repository name. So it can be, let's say, let's name our repository as per Git session. Okay. And I also choose the owner as, I think let's choose the owner as semicolon.co, because I'll need to fork the repository, and you all will also need to fork the repository. So it will be better in that way. Then you can also make your repository as private or public. So a private repository is something that only you can see, and you can also share the repository with permissions to another person. So right now, since I want to share it with all people, so I'll make it public. Essentially, all the open source projects are public, but you can also make private repositories. So I can also create a README file. So we'll also look into what a README is later on. I can also choose a license. So there's no need for a license right now, but just to show you. So I created this repository. Let's click on create repository. And yeah, as you can see, I have created this repository. So now what I'll do, I'll just share this link, and then we'll all follow along together in it. So Let me share the link in the chat box. Yeah. Yeah, one thing that I'll also do here that you all don't need to do, I'll create a new file. You can create, you can make changes directly to GitHub also that in the way I am doing right now. But it's beneficial if you clone the repository. I'll show you all of it in just a second. So I'm just creating a file known as names.md. And I can also write a commit message here. So by default, this is create names.md. I can also write an optional message. So I think there's no need to do it right now. I'm just committing this new file. And I'll show you all how we can do it. So, so yeah, here's the repository. Uh, I want you all to open the link that I shared in the chat box, and then I'll show you how you can fork the repository and make changes in your own system. Yeah, and one more thing, those who will fork the repository and make a contribution, only they will get the certificate. So that is also a condition if you are looking for certificate. So yeah. Yeah, we can even go one more step and then I'll make you all write a +1. What I want you to do is to click on this fork here. I hope you can see this. Just click on this fork. There's this option, create a new fork. Just choose you as the owner and click on this create fork. This is all that you need to do right now. So I hope you all can follow along. After making a fork, you will see something like this that I'm seeing. Instead of my username here, you will see your usernames here. And that's it. This is how you fork a repository. So what I want you all to do is to go to the link that I shared, click on this fork button here, click on the create fork button, and that's it. So and write a +1 afterwards in the chat box when you have forked the repository. Yeah, I see a lot of +1s. Great to see a lot of people following along. In case anyone have any doubts till now, just some general doubts, you can ask in the chat box, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end. But in this process, if anyone have any doubts, you can ask. I see a lot of +1. Good to see that a lot of people are following along. So yeah, since all of you have forked a repository, probably many of you have forked a repository. The next step that you all should do, and let me check the number of forks. Yeah, there are 21 forks. Good to see. So afterwards, shall I wait for 1 or 2 more minutes if you want? How to get the fork option? Uh, when you go to this repository that I've shared, there's this fork button here. I hope you can see the fork button. Uh, you need to be signed in into GitHub to see that fork button. If you're signed in, you should see this fork button here. Yeah, I see 25 forks. I see another +1. Yeah. Yeah, I think I can go to the next step. If anyone have any queries till now, feel free to ask out. So now that you make a fork, let me tell you what you have done.
तो तू अपने
So
अबे रुक जा, अभी मत कर कुछ भी भाई
since
यहाँ
you
से।
made a fork, what you have done
हाँ
is
तो यहाँ से भेजियो ना।
one is the main repository that is at the semicolon co
सर्च करो, पीके
organization.
कर।
Then there's my fork. So I have clicked on this fork button.
नहीं है। अरे
It's
यार रुक।
already done, so no need to click it again. I can just go to my profile and I can yeah.
p
So
dot get
after
dot
making a fork, what I have done is that I have created
g
a
a
repository with the same name in
r
my own
e
account. So whatever changes that I will make here will not be reflected into the main repository of the semicolon organization until I make a pull request.
अच्छा।
So right now I've created it so that I don't so that I won't make any unnecessary changes into the main organization. I fork the repository and I'll make changes in my own repository. And then afterwards, when I'm satisfied with the changes I've made, I'll make a pull request to the main repository. So what will happen is that essentially all the changes I'll do, they won't be reflected. And then I'll make a pull request. Then probably a reviewer of that organization. Here the organization is semicolon, but in a variety of cases there will be a lot of organizations in which you'll make your open source contributions. So essentially in all of them, what you'll do, you'll go to their repository, you'll make a fork, and then I'll show you the next steps. So now that we have created a fork, what we'll do is we'll clone the repository in our own system. So since this is a smaller code base, I can also directly modify the code from here. Let me show you that also. This is actually not a good practice in if we are working on a code, but just to show you that we can do it directly too. I can just directly click on this edit this file button. I can write my name here. Since this is name.md, what I'm doing is just where I'm adding my name and let's say my email address, whatever. Yeah, I'm leaving it. So just to make, if you don't want to clone, if you want to make direct change, you can just click on this edit. You can write your name here. What I want you to do here is that write your name and write your email address here, right? So yeah, this is it. That's all I want you to do. So and everyone should write after a break, line break. So I'll just make a name. I'll make a commit, and I can click on this commit changes to directly make a change in the in my forked repository. But what we'll be doing right now is we'll be doing it properly. We'll be cloning the repository, and then we'll do it. But just to show you that it can be done through this also. So what I want you all to do is go to your forked repository. Okay, you probably clicked on this forked here, and then you'll see something like this. So then I want you to go to this code button and copy this line. Okay, this is HTTPS line. So through this line, you can get the .git extension file copied. So you can just copy this right now, right here, and then you can open your terminal command prompt, anything. In Windows 11, there's this terminal that works like it. You can also open your command prompt. Both will work just the same. So you can open any of it. And since I'm assuming that you have Git installed, if if you want to check, you can just write git minus minus version here. And if you see something, that means that you have Git installed. So you can just check that you have Git installed by here, by through this. When you install Git, I think there's already a check marks through which you can add it to your path directly. That is essential, or else you won't see anything here, even though you have Git installed in the system. So that is also something. So yeah, so what I want you all to do is write, first of all, check if you have Git installed in your system. You can do so by using this command. I'll also so do this. Yeah. And then what you all should do is write git clone. Oh, first of all, you should go to any directory of your choice. In my case, by default, it's C users and Ankur Gupta. If you're familiar with command prompt, you to go to any of the directory, you just need to write E or any hard disk name that you have, and you can do so, or you can just don't do any of it, and that will also do. So what you should do is write git clone and then paste the repository that you have copied. So just click on this copy button here and git clone and paste it and press enter. So that's it. This is how you can clone that. If you are using Git for the first time, this procedure will ask you to sign in with GitHub first, and you'll it will redirect you to your browser. You'll need to write your GitHub username and password, and then you will be and then you can clone the repository. Or I think this also happens when making a push. So, so even now, I think it may not happen, but after when you make a push, that can happen. So for that, it's a fairly simpler process. You can just look into it. So right now, what we have done is we have cloned the repository. So what I want you all to do is to clone the repository. You all should go for it. Just write git clone and the repository that you have copied from here. So in my case is github.com/ankur132. In your case, it will be your username. Okay. So don't copy paste mine or else this will lead to an error. So just write git clone and your repository here. So I hope you are following along. Yeah, so as you can see, after making that clone, I can see the repository in my own system also. So there's this .git file also that you don't need to look into it, but and this is an indication that this is a Git file. Then there's the names.md and readme.md. So this is essentially just the same files that are here, readme.md and names.md. So what you have done is you have added, if you have copied the whole code into your own system. So that is what git clone does. So there's name.md and there's readme.md. I hope you all have cloned the repository. Let me know if you are facing any issue. I think in cloning there should not be an issue because it's not a public, it's not a private repository. So yeah, what we have done is we have just cloned the repository. Then what I need you all to do is open this names.md. You can open it with any preferred ID. You can even open it with Notepad. There's no issue. In my case, I'm opening it with VS Code. So yeah, I've opened the file. Now what I'll do is I'll make a change into my code base. So what I'll just do is I'll add my name and my email ID. Okay, let's use an. So what I'll do is I'll write my name, my email address. I want you all to do the same. Now imagine there's another person known as Shagun. So I'll write Shagun Chaturvedi and I'll write his email address here and that's it. So in your case also you need to do the same. Just press and enter here, write your name and that's it. And that's it. We'll look into the next step later on. So just open names.md with any preferred ID. You can even open it with Notepad. Write your name and email address and press enter. So this is an important step because since we are getting your email address, it will be we will just send you certificates through your email address through this only. So that's important. Yeah. So you have written your name, you have written your email address, you have saved the file. I'll just press the Control S and you have saved the file. That's all you need to do from here. Okay. So this is it. This is all you need to do. Let me know if you have done till now. Write a +1 if you just open name.md and write your name. That's it. Yeah, I see 2 + 1, 3, 4. Yeah, going good. Yeah, great. I can like wait for 1 or 2 minutes if you are going through the process. Just for yeah, repeating the steps. Number one, fork the repository. Okay, I'll share the link. You just need to press on the fork button, fork the repository. Okay. Number two, git clone the repository. So for that, let me share it again. So here's the repository that you'll see once you fork the repository. Okay, then you click on this code button here. You'll copy you copy the https checkout link here. Okay, you'll press on this copy button. Then you'll open your command prompt, terminal, PowerShell, anything can do. Okay, you'll open it. You'll write git clone and paste the link that you have copied. So for that, I also assume that you have Git installed in your system. If you haven't, you can just search for it and install Git. So just click on this Git clone. It press enter. It will be copied in your local system. Okay. Also look into directory since initially when you open PowerShell, it will be something like c/user/your name. Okay. So if you clone it there, so you need to go to C, then users, then in my case it's Ankur Gupta, and then you'll see the clone repositories folder here. Okay, so it depends on where you have cloned the repository. In my case, I have directly cloned it in my E drive. Okay, but in your case, it can be anything. So just press git clone, copy it, and yeah, you have copied it. Then what we have done is let me go to the repository. Yeah. Then we have copied it. We have gone to the folder. Then you open this names.md. Okay. If this sounds way too fast to you, we'll also share all the recordings and everything. You can like follow along anytime you want. Don't get too overwhelmed by it. I hope I'm going at a good pace. Yeah. So I also got a notification that those who contribute before 9 p.m. today, all will get certificates. So no need to make a lot of hurry, but make sure you do so. So just so yeah, going to the next steps, you open this names.md. You open it with any preferred ID. In my case, it's with VS Code. You write your name and email ID here and press save. That's it. That's all you need to do till now. I also see this. This is a source control system that is developed by VS Code itself. That is also a nice way in which you can make your pull request and everything. Many people use that. Even I use this system. But since this is a beginner-friendly session, I'm not assuming that you have VS Code installed or anything. We are just using terminal right now. Everyone have command prompt installed, so not an issue. So yeah, you just write your name, you write your email address, and that's it. And write a +1 in the chat when you follow it all. Arjita, I hope it's clear to you now. If it's anything, let me know. Yeah, I see some new +1s. Yes, done. Yeah, good to see. Okay, so now I assume you have proceeded to now. So since you have make a contribution, what you need to do now is to add the changes in your Git repository. Okay. So to do so, first of all, let's move to the repository in which we have cloned. So for that, you'll write in command prompt, you'll write cd, that is change directory. It is a command prompt system.
शुरू में होगा
As per git session. Yeah, you'll write cd as per. If you have, you can also just write cd then as per and press tab button. So in this way also you don't need to write all of it. Just that much will do. So you move to this folder. You just write this. You can just copy paste this command. I will share the command. Yeah. You write this cd as per git session. You'll be redirected to the folder. Then what you'll do is you'll write git add dot. Okay. So what git add dot does is add the git changes, add the changes that you have made in your local system to git. So dot here signifies to copy all the files. Since we have made changes in just names.md, I can also use git add names.md here. That will also do just fine. But git add dot essentially modifies look into all of the repository code base. So then we just need to use this git add dot. I'm sharing all the commands in the chat box so you can follow along. Just git add dot, right? Then moving to the next step, you write git commit minus m. Minus m signifies message. Commit signifies that you're making a commit. Minus m, and then you can write any command message. In my case, edit my name uncle. Okay, and press enter. So that is it. Now you can see this line here. It signifies all the changes that you've done. So I changed one file, I make one insertion and one deletion. So this probably doesn't matter, but this is all you need to do. Git commit minus m, edit my name uncle. Okay. So I'll also share this. This minus m, the message after minus m is your commit message. It can be anything that you want other developers to know. It essentially signifies what changes you have done. So in my case, since I just added my name, I written this as the commit message. That's why it can be anything. So I'm also sharing this command here. I hope it's fairly easier for you to follow along. There's just three commands that you need to write in your command prompt, nothing else. There's another command, the next step. So now that you have made a commit, there are essentially three steps. You add the changes in your Git repository, you make a commit, and then you make a pull request. Okay. So the next step, git pull. Even I'm confused between push and pull. Git, I think it's push, right? So git push origin. Me, I'm confused between it. I hope it's push. Yeah, it's push. So then you just need to write git push origin main. So what this done, I'll explain all of it. So here's the next command that you need to write. Probably if you haven't signed up till now, in this command, in executing this command, there will be something that writes that you need to sign in to perform this action, or you may need to write your GitHub username and GitHub password. So that is one step that you may need to do if you are doing this for the first time. If you have already made a pull request before, so you don't need to do any of it. It will work just like you are seeing right now in my screen. So yeah, these are just four commands that you need to write in your command prompt. Git push origin main. Yeah, let me explain this. So push, what push does is you have made changes in your local system. Now it's making changes to your local repository. So for doing that, you are writing git push. Okay. Origin here signifies the name of remote. It doesn't matter right now since it's just the first session. But origin signifies the name of the remote. That's all you need to learn from till now. And main signifies the name of the branch. So by default, all of the branches in Git have a name as main. So even you can see it here. Yeah, here. The name of the branch is main. So main, that's why you need to write main here after origin. So this is all git push origin main. So even let me refresh this and you'll see the changes itself. Yeah, I refreshed it, and as you can see, the last commit is just 3 minutes ago that I have made. I can even see this commit message that I have added, that is added my name Ankur. Okay, even opening this names.md, I can see my name here, Ankur Gupta, and my email address, right? So this is how you can make a commit and the pull request. So uh, let me know if you have followed along till now. Write a +1 again, and let me know if you're facing any problems. And then we'll move into the next part, that is just a single button and all of the proof, all of the thing will be done. I'm looking at the chat box. Keep writing +1. Yeah. Also, just a gentle reminder: only the people who contribute to the repository will get the certificate. So make sure you follow along. If you face any queries, feel free to follow. Feel free to reach out. Feel free to write your doubts in the chat box. I see some +1s here. It's very nice to see +1s. Yeah, others Rathod. Sorry, Karthik. Yeah, Adarsh, I'm familiar with this error. I know that many of you will reach into this. So if any of you face into this, just even in the error, the solution is written. You just need to write this git config global user.email, and it will be done. So yeah, let me share you two commands that you need to execute. Yeah, so let me show you the solution. To simplify the problem, you just need to write git config global user.email. I'm sharing the whole code here, and then your email address. So your email. So you need to execute two commands once you face this issue. First one is this git config global user.email, and in quotes write your email, your real email with which you have your GitHub account. Okay, and there's another command that you need to execute. Git config global user.name and then your name. That's it. Just execute these two commands and it will be done. After git add dot command. Yeah, nothing will happen. It will just execute. You won't see anything. As you can even see in my terminal. There's the git add command. Yeah, here's git add command. You'll write this. Nothing will happen. Then you make a commit. Then you'll see this message. Then you'll make a push, and then there will be all the data that all the compression, all the things that you wrote will be shown.
Aisha. Ara.
There's also something known as Git status. So let me even write this and I'll show you. Yeah, so you can just write Git status and you can see all of the changes that you have made. So you're on branch main. Okay, your branch is up to date. That means you have nothing else to commit. If you execute this command before this git commit, okay, then you'll see some changes here, that there's one thing that is pending for commit and something like that. So you can check it out. There's also git diff that shows the difference. There's no difference right now, so it won't show anything. No need to memorize any of it. Once you get started with it, you'll start to recognize it. You'll start to use it on your own. So no need to recognize to remember any of this stuff. I'll also share some helpful resources after the session in your emails. So that
भाई
will
वहीं
also be
होगा, अगर
helpful,
होगा
I
तो,
hope.
वरना नहीं पता मेरे को.
So yeah, keep writing plus one. That's there's just one step that we need to do afterwards, and in this way you have made your first pull request. Even you're facing an issue, and even after the session, feel free to reach out. I'll share my LinkedIn profile. Yeah, before making a connection request, do add a note that we met in the session or anything, so that it's easier for me to recognize you. Yeah, just feel free to connect, and we'll resolve all of the queries. No issues. So, so how to take a author identity unknown after git commit. Author identity unknown, I think must should be this error should be gone after writing this git config here. I hope you use this git config commands here. This should be done. Yeah, one more thing that I just been notified that you should also check the email which you have written here in the git config command. This should be the email with which you have your GitHub account. This shouldn't be any other email that you are using in GitHub. So that will also create an issue. And this global user.name will signify that it's your name of GitHub profile. So this is it. So I hope a lot of you have followed along. If there's any issue, just we'll also provide recordings and everything, so you all can follow along. No issues. You can even reach out. You can even ask doubts here. So so yeah, now that we have made a pull request, what I need to do just one step. Click on this contribute button here, and then click on this open pull request. Okay. Once again, just going to the repository, clicking on a contribute button, open pull request. Okay. And there then you'll see something like this. The main branch, this is the base repository, and that is the head repository in which we have made a copy. Then we just click on this create pull request. Okay. We can even leave a comment, any changes that you made, and then I'll click on this create pull request. Okay. And that's it. That's all you need to do to create a pull request. Afterwards, essentially in a large development cycle, you create a pull request, then the maintainer of the repository will look into your pull request. If he got into any issue in your pull request, if you found any bugs in your code, he'll write it in the comment here itself that this is not working, with helpful tips, of course. He'll write it all, and he'll click on this comment. He can even close the pull request with a comment, or if everything works fine, the maintainer of the repository will click on this merge pull request, and your pull request will be merged into the main repository. So this is all. There are the one way which I have shown you right now is using terminal. So this I think is probably the most logical part of it. Apart from that, there are various other things that you can look into. One is GitHub Desktop. GitHub Desktop makes this process a lot more easier. Then there's VS Code. So you can clone a repository, you can make changes, you can commit it, you can make a push, all of it directly through VS Code also. If you are an Android Studio user, you can do all of this stuff through Android Studio also directly. So a lot of IDEs provide their own ways of making all the process. The one I've shown you is the most the process in which you need to write the most. So no issues. If you're facing anything, any issues or something, just feel free to ask out. See something in the chat. So as I clicked on code link, it's directing just to download the GitHub. Even after installation, the forking, as I clicked on code link. Let me show you. Like there's the main repository. Okay, you click on code here. I hope it's clearly visible. You click on code here. Then make sure you are on this HTTPS here. Okay. Then don't click on this download zip or open with GitHub desktop anything. So just click on this button here. This just copies the Git command. I think you're gone into this open with GitHub desktop or anything. That's why you are facing an issue or something. Just click on it and it will be fine. So yeah, just click on it, make a pull request. Let me know if you have made a pull request. I'll just I've already gotten 10 pull requests. Great to see. Let me give a shout out. Added my name Anunay, Aditi, Arjita. Someone's made a pull request name Asper. I'll look into your name also. I think it's by Dheeraj. Okay, yeah. Then Arjita, Akhileshwar, Sara, Manish. Good work, everyone. Keep making pull requests. Someone's probably also closed the pull request. A great thing you see also how to close a pull request. There was also a program named Hacktoberfest that was held in the month of October. So in Hacktoberfest, what you need to do is you need to make some open source contributions, just the way we did right now. And by making 4 pull requests, you'll get some swags by Hacktoberfest. You get some T-shirts and some stickers. So it's probably a good program. There are a lot of programs that keeps going on through Hacktoberfest. So so yeah, this is how just you make a pull request. I already gotten 12 pull requests. Good to see all of you making contributions. Keep going, folks. Again, if any of you face any difficulty, feel free to ask out. I'll merge all of your pull requests after the session, so no need to worry. You'll see all of your names in this names.md. Also one great thing, you'll see a contributors option here in which all of your names will be written. So if you want anyone to know how many contributions you made, you can just share with them the repository and they'll see that you are the contributor of the repository. So that's also great work. Good to see 13 folks already. 13 pull requests. It's a fairly simpler step. You can just refer to any of the helpful material or resources later on if you're facing any doubts. So please help for this after committing. Commit message. Still committed. I think you have not written the commit message. Let me. It's a here is how you make a commit message. Git commit -m and then your commit message. The error that you've shown, it shows that you haven't written a commit message for your changes. So to make a commit message, just write this git commit -m and in quotes, write your own commit message. Okay. So in my case, it's added my name Ankur. In your case, it can be anything that you want. Just write your name here, write anything that you want, no issues. So this is all we need to do. So yeah, we are done with the hands-on session. This is just a quick demo of how you make a pull request. If anyone face any issue, feel free to ask out, as I said. And yeah, you have 12 aim yeah, you can make your PR till tonight, and we will consider all of your pull requests. So no issue in that. Make a pull request. If you face any issue, you can even reach out to me in person. There's no issue. The branch has conflicts that must be resolved. Okay, so you went through a merge conflict. It's a bigger issue beneath. Merge conflicts are something that's just make your change in new line. Okay, and then the merge conflict must be resolved by through that. There's also something that let me show you. Since you are here in this repository, you can just press the dot button on your keyboard. So what I'm doing is pressing this dot button on my keyboard, and there's this nice GitHub web editor. It's just similar to VS Code. So that is a recently new feature of GitHub that you can directly make your changes through GitHub in a VS Code like interface. It even includes extensions that you use in your Visual Studio Code and everything. Just like look at it, it's a lot more similar to VS Code. You can make all of your changes directly through this also. Just to give you a preview, it's yeah, I see 14 pull requests. Good. Good to see you all making a pull request. I'll show you this. Yeah, just like this, Ayush has done it right. Just write your name here, your email ID, and that's it. I see 15 pull request again. So yeah, I think we have followed along. A lot of you people have followed along. It's great to see. I know it's a lot at the first attempt, so it's okay if you're stuck at any point. Just even in a lot of cases, you can just Google your error. These errors are a fairly a lot more common. So you can just Google the error. You'll definitely find a solution. Even if there's issue, as I said, feel free to reach out. And yeah, just make a pull request. You have time till tonight, so make a pull request, and we'll give you some certificates from MLSA. So yeah, moving further, I think this is all that is here. There's also a blog that I've written. I would like to share. So as I said, there are three ways in which you can make contributions, even more than three, but just the basic ones. So in this blog, I've written all the ways in which you can make a pull request. There's how to make. There's this using this terminal. There's using VS Code, and there's the one using GitHub Desktop also, I guess. So you can look into this blog also if you're stuck at any point. And there are a lot of more resources in internet, so you can look into any of it. Uh, a brief guide to Markdown. As you noticed, we have written the changes in names.md file. So .md is Markdown. So Markdown is a markup language for formatting text. It is similar to HTML syntax. You can even write normal text and it will work just fine in Markdown. So I have this video also on Markdown. So you can also look into it if you want to get even more brief about how Markdown works and everything. Moving further, finding GitHub repositories in which you can contribute. So I'll just give you a quick glimpse of how you can do so. So to find good repositories, you can just go to this issues tab here. I think it will sound a bit overwhelming right now, so I won't look a lot more deeper into it. but you can just click on this issues here. Issues are essentially problems or enhancements that someone wants in their code. So you can just write, just click on this issues. You can find a list of issues that are active right now. Like let's say add error handling in adding or submitting a blog. So this is an issue that is active in my GitHub profile. So I have this issue. I can just open it. I can click on, I can check the problems. I can look into all the changes that can be done. I can write that I want to work on this issue, and you can like start making your open source contributions. So another way to find organization is through participating in open source programs. So uh, the last step, let's look into some open source programs. So you all may have probably heard about GSOC, Google Summer of Code. Then there's Gulf Script Summer of Code. There's Gulf Script Winter of Code. There's Social Winter of Code. There's a lot of programs going on right now. So what happens on that open source programs is that you work on a live project. So for example, I have a website. So let me give you a demo. There's a website on which I'm working on, that is semi URL. Okay, so what semi URL is, it's an open source alternative of bit.ly. Like it's essentially built for communities, club, and anyone promoting open source hackathon or anything. So this is an open source repository. You can just go to his website. You can click on view on GitHub, and you can make changes. So for example, I want to shorten a link. So what I can do is I can just go to this data.json. For example, even for this session, I shortened the link through this Git session, and I added the meet link, and that is how a URL shortener works. So it's a fairly simpler process that we have developed, essentially for all the open source communities and everyone. So you can like check out the resource, check out the issues. You can make a pull request. You can fork the repository. You can even start the repository to show your to show that you like the repository's code and everything. So this is essentially how all of it works. So let me also show you some open source programs that are active. And so yeah, in open source programs, you also get a stipend. Like for example, in GSOC, there's a good stipend. What in GSOC you usually do is you choose an organization, you make a proposal, you make some changes, and all the process move on. You also get some cool swags. So I have a lot of swags. Probably someone already knows that. So then there's community building. So community building is also a huge part of it. Being a part of community gives you a lot more value. A small contribution. For example, imagine me making a small contribution in VLC Media Player, and lot of people, I think millions of people use VLC Media Player, right? So a small contribution that I make in VLC code, that will be reflected to millions of users use, right? So imagine the value that you bring by making an open source contribution. For example, Linux, let's say Linux is an open source operating system kernel, right? So so someone has probably developed it, then people started working on it, and it's huge, right? Uh, I guess about 99% of web is currently hosted on Linux, so it's a lot. And another part, no necessary coding required. So all that we have done today, as you probably know, we have done no part in coding, and everything was done nice. So this is how you can contribute to open source programs. There's also this repository that I have found in which you can find a lot of active open source programs. I think I don't know the reason, but when I'm pasting, it's looking huge. Yeah, I think Manish has already shared the link to the open source programs. And let me also open it and show you. Yeah, so here what you can see is you can see all the open source programs going on. You can see whether the program has stipend or not. You can see the link to its timeline. Even this is an open source project. It has 697 folks. It has 2.8 stars. Even I am the one who started the project. So if you find anything nice on GitHub, you can just start the project, and it will be easier for you to look into the project later on. And yeah, just you can look into the um, programs, you can see into the contributions, and this is how you can make your open source contributions. You can get started with any of the programs. They keep happening, and there are so many programs in a month. Some of them may happen every month. So like Hacktoberfest happens every October. Then there's Google Summer of Code. There are a lot of Summer of Code programs. There are Winter of Code programs also. And they keep happening. So just you can just check this open source programs. This is how you can contribute. So I think this is all for the session. We have already looked into a lot of doubts today. If you have any more doubts, feel free to reach out. And yeah, thank you for joining. The session recording and presentation will be provided to you on your email IDs and participation certificates to those who made a pull request before 12 today. All will get a participation certificate from Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. And yeah, great to see all of you making your first contributions on GitHub. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining the session. Now, I would like to share the stage with Vaishnavi. Anything that you would like to add, and we can end the session.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us all. So, this was all for today's session. I hope you all must have liked it. And also, I may note that we'll be circulating a feedback form. Make sure that you'll all fill it. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in with us.
Thank you, everyone. Let's wrap up the session. And if you have any doubts, feel free to reach out.